So I had a few things I wanted to go over, some stuff that's been on my mind lately. Right, present. Okay, so I had a few things I wanted to talk about as far as opportunities go outside of lead generation, and a few things to share that might be helpful for you guys as far as titles and thumbnails go. Those are super important as far as, the packaging of your video and, staying true to the promise you have in that title and thumbnail, trying to combine them in a way that is enticing for someone to want to click. Um, so quick agenda today. Opportunities, titles, thumbnails. So let's get right into it. Um, just want to share a couple personal anecdotes here. And this kind of goes for a local channel, but I'm sure you will see this regardless of if your channels are specific to a location, to a niche, is that the longer you're doing it and the bigger your channel grows, you will get opportunities that you might not have expected in the beginning. So at least for me personally, I've always, made a YouTube channel with the goal of lead generation, whether it was for the real estate agents I work with or for my newer SEO channel. That being said, the more views and the more ground your channel covers, you'll start to get some interesting opportunities. So a big one we've seen before is interview requests. We just had one on CNBC. They reached out from our email. They emailed us off of our YouTube channel. You'll get requests from we've had people that want us on their podcast. We've had a bunch of writers or journalists reaching out. Homes.com has been a big one recently in the real estate space for some reason. I think they're like revamping their SEO strategy. We've got phone calls and emails from them like, hey, can we interview you? We get quoted. So this is one way that having a YouTube channel and SEO efforts can kind of go hand in hand. We have had journalists and local blogs or local publications quote something we said in a video. I oftentimes don't, see it until someone either sends it to me or I'm searching for my name or something and I see it pop up. And we have reached out to get a link placed because they usually will link to our YouTube channel, but I'll reach out to them and say, hey, this is actually our website that goes along with that. Can you please link to us? We've had some success there. Personally, I've got a lot of random sponsorship requests. And all these opportunities, guys, I will say, I probably don't say yes to the majority of them. Some of them are kind of random. We've had requests for, local businesses or car dealerships being like, hey, like, can we sponsor a video? Can we give you $1,000 to name drop us or come do a video at our store? And most of the time, my answer is no, just because unless there's a super relevant, partnership there, it doesn't make sense for us to partner with, a local coffee shop or a mattress store or car dealership most of the time, because I'd like to keep the videos pretty dialed in on the purpose of lead generation. We also just get a lot of random emails, especially for real estate. We get a ton of people in mortgage or people that, sell some kind of insurance product like that reaching out to us. We do have a mortgage company that actually pays to get access to our leads. So that was one thing we didn't expect to happen from the real estate channel. But just stuff like that I'm trying to get at here, where you will get opportunities. The longer you do this and the more you get your face out there, people will reach out to you. Sometimes there is, a good connection you can get from that. I've made friends who've recognized me off YouTube. I have met new people locally that run different businesses that have, maybe a partnership or sponsorship didn't work out, but someone that's a good connection just kind of file away in my Rolodex that I have had the opportunity just from being on YouTube. Another thing too, which is also why I oftentimes say no to this kind of stuff, is because I feel like you'll notice the longer you do it is that people kind of want to piggyback off of the effort and the time you've put into a YouTube channel, where they're not going to have an audience of their own. They don't really have anything to offer you in exchange, but you'll get people that want to collaborate, or let's do a video together. Let's do an interview. And at least in my experience, most of the time, it's not a very good fit. But there have been a handful of good opportunities that have come that we never expected. And then, yeah, so this is just an example. We just did one on CNBC. All of this completely organic and inbound. So this is like PR stuff that we didn't even try to go out and do. We will just get emails from writers, or this is one article in a big local news site that I got a link on. They reached out. They didn't initially offer a link, and that's always my first response. Like, yes, I'd love to give you the information you want if you can link to our homepage. Free link, by the way, too. And then if anyone has any questions or anything you want to add throughout this presentation, just raise your hand or unmute yourself. Now we got some stuff to talk about with titles. So this was recommended by someone in the group that wanted to remain anonymous, but go by Swifty. So this is just some resources someone gave me that they wanted me to share to hopefully help you guys. So, oops. All right. Okay, I didn't mean for these to all show up individually. I'll just show this way. So these are just some title formats you can think about. There are, I believe, 23 of them in total. So I'll send you guys the slides for this later on. But these are kind of templates that you can use if you want to think about your titles in specific buckets. So for example, we have an offer. You know, that could be a great idea for something like bottom of the funnel. If you want to get someone on your email list by offering them, you know, if you like this video, sign up below or go to a landing page, whatever it is. I know that's something Nathan talks about a lot too, as far as having some kind of funnel, whether you want people to go to a landing page to get their info or get someone on your email list or just go directly to like a Calendly link or whatever. So these are some good things you guys can go through and take a look at. And there's a lot of things here where the red is the example. So for most of these titles, if you guys just take some time and go through here, you could probably find one where the example maybe is not really relevant to you, but you can take the idea behind it. You know, whatever that might be for your business, whether it has to do with SEO or if you want to frame it as just how to get more leads for your business and not, you know, not tailor it just to SEO, because that's one thing I do with my videos on the SEO channel. At least I sometimes try to position it as more just how to get real estate leads or whatever, because SEO sometimes doesn't always register with people. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, that's a good point that you just brought up, which is, you know, the old saying of getting leads versus like views, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, would you say that a good ratio that you do for your business is like 50-50, or you're just saying right now, depending on what they're doing, you should use some of these questions for the intent of either views or lead gen?
Like having a call to action in the videos. Is that what you mean?
Have a call to action in
Like
the
to,
video or the topic of the video, because some of these would be good for like not so much lead gen, but maybe they'd be good for like, you know, clickbait, not clickbait, but views, right? You
yeah.
know, where they're probably not going to take action, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I feel like with all of these, there's probably a way you could spin it as being like a more broad kind of video that really just gets a lot of views, maybe, but not necessarily leads. And I feel like you could definitely try to make some of these more specific to be more of a lead gen type video. I don't have these split up in any way as far as views versus leads go, but I definitely think that you could position some of these either way. I feel like, at least for me, the videos that just get a lot of views but not necessarily leads are always the ones that are kind of a little bit more broad. So for example, at the local level, it's always videos, at least for me, that are like citywide, like addressing the whole market. You know, like top things to know about St. Louis, or like here's some things to know, here's some bad things you want to think about. Where, you know, I'm always using local keywords where it's like the citywide. And then I've noticed the more specific you get, the more you just get videos that tend to get way fewer views for sure, but also more leads. So when it's more like the neighborhood level, sometimes we'll do a specific condo building or a specific like new build community. Again, I know that's kind of real estate specific, but I've found, at least for us, the more like nitty gritty we get as far as the location we're talking about, you get fewer views, but they're so much more targeted that those get a lot more leads. But yeah, that's also a really good point to bring up, that, you know, some of these videos, and you could probably use the same, you know, template for a title and just spin it different ways. But I definitely think that's important to think about as far as, you know, are you intending this to be more of a viral video or something that just is there to be super specific and long tail that'll just get leads the longer that it's out there.
Also, I'd say some of these are great for vertical videos versus like your
Yeah.
standard YouTube videos, right?
Yeah. Good point. All right. And then couple of things with thumbnails, and these are just my opinions and the way that I've done this, there's obviously a lot of ways you guys can think about thumbnails. A big thing I feel like I talk about, or that people like ask, is like, oh, should you have your face in your thumbnail? My opinion is that it definitely does not hurt. And in fact, the longer that you have an online presence and the more your channel grows, I think it will help you in the long term. Um, I know maybe not everyone's comfortable with having their face, right out there on the thumbnail, and especially if you're doing like maybe a voiceover video or something that doesn't have your name and face in there. Definitely think that experimenting and trying to test different thumbnails to see what works, because I feel like sometimes, especially the way you have your channel positioned, maybe it's just your company name and your company logo. I think there is something to be said about people connect with people over logos and brands. So really up to your comfort level, and depending on how you want to get creative with it. I do both, but here are some things I think about too. Okay, special emphasis on experiment. So these are some split tests. Yeah, Brian.
Sorry, as you're doing this, what would you
Yeah,
say like you're doing like multiple if you cover multiple brands, like kind of talking about that, what would you say would be a good idea, based on your, feedback? Because even as soon as you pulled this up, I could see that some with and without do better.
yeah,
So
yeah.
which would,
And honestly, I have not figured out a reason that maybe it works better sometimes than not. And I feel like personally, sometimes it just depends on like what else is going on in the thumbnail. So like this one performed better. I just tried, experimenting with, because some of these are like, if there's not a face, I will add something else in there. But then some of them you can see it's literally just the face is the only difference. Like right here, this one did better. And then obviously on this side, having a face is like double the click-through rate, where sometimes like the face is literally the only thing. As far as like having different brands go, Brian, I feel like it might be, well, first, do you have people that are in the videos, or is it like a voiceover kind of video between the brands you have?
So that's what I wanted to, kind of get an idea about, which was I was thinking of voiceover with the primary amount and then doing a cut of me introducing the video with the
Yeah,
brand, or I could just do the voiceover introduction of the brand with the intro, and then it gets into the content versus my face is on 50 different channels, like would
yeah,
be ridiculous, right?
yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of it definitely is just personal preference. I feel like there's something to be said about having some kind of person in the video if your options are either full voiceover or having a video with someone in it, whether it's you or whether it's someone else. For me, what I've done, I've never, at least with this, the St. Louis channel, I've never tried a video that is just voiceover based. I've had other channels where like my goal was just to go viral, get views with like um, faceless, like
YouTube video,
faceless
whatever.
videos. Yeah, like voiceover documentaries. For lead generation specifically, I feel like there definitely is something to be said about a person wanting to connect with a person. And in fact, what I've done with this channel is I haven't taken myself out of the videos, but I've started adding other people to it. And that is because that helped us tremendously with conversions, where basically, if you're not the one who is servicing the clients or getting on the phone with them when they reach out, because that was the case for me, I was no longer the one working with clients. We definitely had a lot of bumps in the road with people who wanted to
Work
talk to
with you.
Jacob and work with Jacob.
Yeah.
Right. And so they realized that was not the case. We lost some business from that. And so what I started doing is basically bringing my salespeople into the videos, because I do not do sales. That being said, for a while, we had this huge database of videos where Jacob was the only person, the only face tied to any of those videos. So we've brought in more people, and that has definitely helped tremendously as far as conversion rates go.
Okay.
So that we don't get hung up on anyone just wanting to work with me. Um, but that
So
being
in my,
said, if yeah,
I was just gonna say, in my case, I'm hiring a team member in each location, so it would really be them, and then maybe a
yeah,
cutscene to me if I'm like introducing something with it.
yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said where having the person who's going to be working with clients in the videos, or at least
Yeah.
somehow present on the YouTube channel, like maybe they're not in the videos, but you can include them in the thumbnails or the channel art. Or what I've done before is, if I'm just doing a video by myself, I will reference the team and maybe drop a story like, hey, we work with clients who are doing this. This is an example of one we just had, my team and I. And when I say that, I'll have like a photo pop up of them or something like, someone's headshot or whatever it is where they're not in the video with me, but I will reference them. And when I do that, I at least have a picture to pop up. So that way, if someone is watching that video that becomes a lead, they at least have seen that face before, even if that face is not talking in the video with me. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think that's the right way to do it, because that
Yeah,
way,
and I think that this probably really applies to something that is higher ticket and longer time frame. So for us, with the real estate leads, when they have budgets between 500 and $2 million, and sometimes they're working with us for months at a time, if not years. It's, at least for us, like the real estate side is super connection driven and like relationship driven, where I don't think it would work for us to just have videos that were purely voiceover without a face or any kind of personality attached to it. So I know that, we've definitely put a lot of effort into having the salespeople in the videos and making them more present on the channel, because that definitely helped with conversions for us. But I know that not every industry is going to be like that. If it's maybe more transactional, you could get away with maybe having less of that personality in there. But for me personally, we definitely noticed a big difference when bringing in the agents. And, I switched from telling stories about me or about and especially like once I stopped working with clients, like I did not have any new stories to tell in the videos,
right.
to relate to people. So I started using the we, right? Like us, like when you work with us, this is what you're going to get. We just had a client do this, this, and this. So that's one thing where I've kind of meshed it all together, where it used to just be 100% me and my name and face, and now it's a lot more the team or the agents, or if it's one specific person that I'm talking about, I have their face throughout the video a lot more than I did before.
Okay. And
And then,
that being
yeah,
said, so I would break it down by producer in that area, and then maybe general videos about, functional items could be done by me, really.
yeah, yeah. I don't think you have to have just like one person per channel,
Yeah.
because we definitely, I mean, like there's like six of us, sometimes
Yeah.
it's me, sometimes it's one of them. But just having like whoever is going to be working with clients, I think if you have them somehow, and even if it's multiple people, have different videos with them, or at least have their faces out there, because I feel like that could definitely help you on the conversion side of it.
Okay.
And then another thing I do with faces is I try to make them unique. Um, like I said, the longer you're out there and the longer you have your channel, just compounding year over year, you will get more value out of your face as kind of your brand, where the more you're going to have returning viewers, the more you're going to have people that will click a video just because it's your face, if they've seen you before and they've decided that they like your content. Some people will make them, and I'll show you some examples where people will sometimes just use the same face over and over again. My personal preference is to make them, similar to each other, but every video I try at least to have a different face. So these are all like, I might have taken them the same day, but they are all a little bit varied. And I think this is the guy that I watched where I got the idea from. Nate Black. He talks a lot about growing on YouTube, so it's a great resource if you guys want to check him out. Same thing, like make it a little bit different so that you avoid that element of sameness, where if your thumbnails all look the exact same, it's probably going to affect you more with returning viewers than with brand new viewers. But that's just like a little trick that I like to do. And not that there's anything wrong with using the same face again and again. You'll definitely see people with big channels that do that, but that's just one thing that I learned, that at least someone gave as like a tip that I've kind of collected, and I'm like, I like that. I want to keep that going forward. And you can see like these videos do really, really well, but at the same time, sometimes you'll notice it's like the same face over and over, and there might be a little bit of fatigue with people watching. So that's why just one reason why I try to make it different every single time. So I'll either take a screenshot of the actual video, or what I'll do is just do it like in batch, like sit down in front of the camera and just get a bunch of different faces at the same time. So that way every video kind of has yeah, exactly, Brian. Like it feels so stupid, just like sit there, like moving my hands around and stuff. But the way that I do that, just like take 5 minutes and just like go through. I have my VA just export every frame that looks kind of decent. And that way I just have like 50 different thumbnails and I'm good for the year. And I just pick one that matches whatever I'm feeling for a video. And
I
just roll
also
with
put
that.
one in the chat that we could add to that slide. some angles that they could use for fun.
Yes. Yeah, definitely different facial expressions too, depending on like what the video is about. So if it's like something like, like a core algorithm update or something like, oh, you got to pay attention for this, like something like shock or something like, angry or sad or whatever, right? To kind of express that. Like sometimes you'll see like these are like big, like your face takes up half the frame. So having some kind of expression on that maybe is a little bit different across your videos. And this is one guy that I followed for link building, and he's just like a very extreme example. Because I feel like most people will look at your face before they read the text, and with all of these thumbnails, before even reading the text, I'm like, these all look the exact same. So that's something that I try to avoid. Different face, doesn't matter if you're wearing the same clothes or whatever, but just like having a different, facial expression or different version of your face to put on the thumbnails is a personal preference that I like to do, just because I feel like that will help you more than having the same thing over and over again. And this is what that looks like, kind of like what Brian was saying. Like I will just sit down for like 5 minutes, have my VA go through an export thumb, and that way, if I get 50 of these done, that's the whole year of thumbnails basically. Unless you want to go through and just update them later down the line. But that's kind of it that I had to share today. Any questions or thoughts or anything else you guys want to talk about that's top of mind for you?
If nobody else wants to speak, I got one more.
Go for it.
Feel like I'm hoarding all the time.
No, you're good. If no one has any questions, yeah. I don't see anything in the chat.
After you go through, how far out do you usually plan your video content? Because I know we were talking about it a little bit last time, but my thought process was every 6 months. And I feel like I'm not sure if that's too long or whatnot, but I feel like that kind of takes it out of I got to rush to make something to, we know exactly what's going out based off of a timeline, because that's how businesses are built. But
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean like 6 months as far as like that's what your content calendar is booked out? Or you mean like 6 months like in advance is how far you're filming these videos, like filming it today and it'll go out in 6 months?
filming it today and scheduling it in 6 months. Do you think that there's
Okay.
a bad part about that, or?
If it's all evergreen, I feel like that shouldn't make a difference. For me, I feel like I usually don't do more than like 1 month out. But honestly, a big part of that for me is just I don't always have time. If I already have 5 videos queued up, I'm not going to spend like another week just making more videos when I could go work on a website or a different channel or something like that. Honestly, I wish I had like the time and ability to film that far out. For me, I tend to be very inconsistent with it, to be honest. It depends on if I think I'm going to have a busy month or I'm going out of town or something. I am a big fan of batch shooting videos. I feel like the most I'll usually ever do is like maybe 4 or 5, where I'll take a few days and just film 4 or 5 videos. That way I can get them sent to my editor. She's
Sure.
set for the next like month of work. And then sometimes, like right now, for example, I don't have any videos queued up. I don't have anything filmed. I need to, take a look at what I want to film next. Um, I don't really plan out a calendar of content maybe more than 1 month in advance, to be honest, just because as much as I can try to do that, I have gotten a lot, like I have basically refined the videos we make a lot more to be tailored to the agents that I work with. So it used to be me just whatever I feel like doing is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to film it, 2 or 3 months in advance or whatever, and I'll just go for months and months doing my own thing without really asking for feedback or opinions. And I stopped doing that because I feel like it's better to make content with some feedback as far as the leads that are coming in. If the agents want to, get leads for a specific area, or if they have ideas, that sometimes they will come to me with video ideas they want to do. And I'm like, that was not even on my radar. But if you're excited about it, if you have stuff you feel confident about sharing, let's sit down and do it. So it's sometimes it feels more like haphazard for me, where I don't have like a refined content agenda. I always have like a spreadsheet of ideas. And I feel like if I am ready to sit down and actually start planning out what to say or think about the next video I want to do, I'll look at that and kind of pick like maybe 2 or 3 from the top. But I don't have I don't have like a specific calendar that's like, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to do for the next 6 months. I feel like every month I have a few ideas, but I will also sometimes just have stuff that's randomly comes up that I'm like, you know what, let me do that instead, depending on the people I work with and if the agents want something specific or not.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Good question though. And yeah, honestly, because I will definitely go through phases where I might have like the next 5 videos. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And then sometimes it's really just like, I need a video next week.
What do I
Here's one
do?
idea. Do you guys have any opinions on this? Like, you want me to do this? If you have something you want to do instead, I'm very open. So I definitely kind of it ebbs and it flows. You know, sometimes I'm very on top of it, and sometimes I'm just like, you guys have ideas because I don't really know what I would feel excited about filming this week.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
And then my other last question I have is for TubeBuddy. Are you just on the basic plan?
I have um, the $50 a month plan, which I don't know if that's the highest or if that's a mid level. Just because I wanted to be able to split test thumbnails, and I like that it shows I can see all the past split tests that I've done. Um, that's kind of the only thing I really use it for. I do like how sometimes I don't know which plan offers it. I know that the higher plan is what gets you the split testing, but if you go through your dashboard, like I like the way that it will let me do like almost an audit. I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah. I'm debating
Um,
which package to get, right? You know, and how
yeah,
easy is it for you to share with your team?
TubeBuddy or
Yeah, TubeBuddy.
no one else really has access to TubeBuddy but me. I don't really use. I mean, I think a few times I have done this click magnet. This is just kind of like it'll show you a very fast and easy way to look at where your time and money might be best spent improving thumbnails. So what I've done before, and sometimes you got to take this with a grain of salt because sometimes it'll say poor performance or CTR, and that's not actually true. Or if I've changed the thumbnail a couple times, like the CTR is like an average, but if it just went up, it's not going to show that. But basically, what I've done is sometimes I will just export this or just like write down the top like 5 or 6 videos that I want to change and send them to my VA to make some new graphics for. But I'm really the only one using TubeBuddy, and it's more of like a once in a while kind of thing. It's not something I'm using every single day or every single week. It's more like if there's a video that I thought would get more views than it did, I might come back and look at changing the title or the thumbnail. Like, I think this is one where this still has not performed super well. This was one where I expected it to do a little bit better. And I think this is one where I did go and make a split test for it. I also think I changed the title, but you can't split test the title and the thumbnail. You got to pick one or the other, I believe. And it should be in the active. Yeah. So that like just this is just like one example. It's still not performing as well as I would like it to because I feel like I've had other videos like this that have gotten like 10 times more views in similar periods. But just an example, this is the one feature I do like, and it has different ways of um measuring. So this was the CTR opportunities, but if you want, I don't even know what all these do. Oh, okay. This is the one. This lets you look at elements. So face versus no face is a big one. Mine look pretty similar, even though there's more with the face, but it looks like it actually does not make a difference. But on the per video basis, like I showed before, there are some where it will be a higher CTR, but it looks like overall, it literally makes no difference for me. And this is kind of what I was saying about emotions. I guess most of mine are happy, but this is another thing where if you guys really want to get detailed with the elements on your thumbnails, um, yeah, basically all of my videos have text on them. I think that's definitely a big thing that can help you with thumbnails. Like, okay, there's three. That's I don't count that one because that's a number, so that should be text. But there's more videos than not that I have text because I feel like for me, I try to make the title and the thumbnail similar, but not the exact same word, so that if there's text on it, I do like having something to kind of like add to the title. So if it's something like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like this one's a video about like moving to downtown St. Louis, and then titles like living downtown. This one was just the number and like price with the pool. So that's just like one example where I'll try to kind of bounce the title and thumbnail off each other, but they don't say the exact same things. Because I feel like those are kind of two opportunities you can use to get clicks. You have the title, then you have the thumbnail. How can you kind of use those to kind of add to each other, and hopefully, a good combination to get a higher click-through rate if it's enticing enough.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And I know TubeBuddy has like a lot of keyword research stuff, and looking at I know it's kind of like SEMrush, like how it'll give your channel like a weighted score for a keyword you want to target. I used to use that. I don't really use that anymore. And that's just personally because I feel like I base way less of my content on YouTube off of keyword research. I base it more around trying to just create an interesting title and thumbnail.
Gotcha.
And it's not always driven by keywords. Like with SEO, obviously, like I'm like there's a primary keyword that we're going after. We'll use rankability. Like we're very dialed in with the keywords there. But I feel like with YouTube, it's just like way more about how can I make an interesting title that's like, I need to click this, I need to watch this, and make a
Yeah.
thumbnail that goes along with that to kind of get those clicks, but not about keyword research. So that's just kind of one reason I don't really use TubeBuddy very much, except for analyzing thumbnails whenever I feel like we can do better with a video.
Gotcha. So it's not as as relevant as needed, really.
Yeah, yeah. At least for me personally, I mean, I feel like if you just want to, if you're not really sure about maybe the search volume for your keywords, or figuring out what someone might be searching for, it could be helpful to have a keyword research tool. Um, the reason, at least for me on the real estate channel, I just learned very early on, like I did a bunch of those tools and stuff, and I just basically found, as obvious as it might sound, the larger a city or town is, like population, the more it gets searched. And so
Right.
that was just like one thing I always like, okay, like the larger geographic area as far as people live there, the more it's going to get searched. And that was kind of the biggest thing. Like I said, I always use local keywords because it's a real estate channel where I always just know, okay, we're talking about like a super tiny specific neighborhood, it's going to get maybe a couple hundred views, whereas talking about the entire metropolitan area, those can get tens of thousands of views. And so I kind of stepped away from doing keyword research just because that was kind of that was the takeaway. The bigger an area, the more it's going to get searched. And typically, like talking about a broader area, way more views, maybe not as many leads, way more specific area, way fewer views, and potentially more leads than a citywide video.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think mine are going to be citywide and then industry specific, like
Mm,
service, city, service, and industry. So
yeah,
uh so in that combination is what I was
yeah,
thinking. And
yeah,
I know it's not
absolutely.
going to get that many views, but I really want to get more along the lines of someone searching for that specific service, right?
Yeah,
Now we show up on search, YouTube, we'll have that embedded in the page, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to start, especially like because I'm guessing that if even if you're doing it at a citywide level, but you're making it industry specific, I'm assuming it's probably not going to be that competitive. So I feel like you
Not
could
at all.
definitely,
Yeah.
right. So like, yeah, exactly. So I feel like you might as well start with like targeting the whole city area, the metro region for your industry, because I feel like that will help you get those views in the beginning and get that momentum going. Then later on, if you want to get more specific as far as individual towns or suburbs or neighborhoods within that area, to kind of get some of those lead based videos in there, I think that would definitely be good. Um, but yeah,
It,
I always try to start with something broader to kind of build a foundation, because if I feel like if you start with all the super specific videos in the beginning, you might get those those views like slowly over time. But it's hard to kind of go after that without a foundation of having those larger, um, not larger, but like wider spread videos right out the gate to get you that foundation.
I might
yeah.
be. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I might be jumping in really late. This is like the first session I've been in, but
No, you're
I'd
good.
be
Yeah,
ready to
welcome.
answer this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll turn on my camera for you guys. So I've been. I haven't started a channel just yet, but one of the tactics I'm trying to walk through is maybe doing like SEO audits for like local businesses and then sending them the audit that I found, but it's also on the channel so that I can be local
Yeah.
in the area that I'm in, which is just say like Frisco, Dallas, Frisco, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if for something that specific, using keyword research with SEMrush would be helpful. Plugging it into rankability so that we can have like those NLP keywords in there. I'm not entirely sure what you found when you've tried to use those tactics and in basically your YouTube results.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's nothing wrong with, using the keyword research tools and then putting it in rankability. If you want to go that route, to plan out your script, to include all those keywords in there. So you're making it, you're niching down by location and industry. Is that correct? With the channel
Yes.
content,
Yeah,
like you want to
what I'm
make it
thinking.
about specific businesses in your area.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is just to do like the SEO agency on a local level, and then I'm just
Yeah.
doing audits for local businesses. So just to get my start, and then see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like honestly, in a case like that, it might kind of be a little overkill to want to use rankability or a keyword research tool if you're trying to like plan out the keywords like for the title or the description or just like NLP to have in the script. Because I feel like it's already probably going to be very not competitive if you're just making, super targeted videos about businesses like in your exact market. But yeah, I feel like it definitely won't hurt if you want to use rankability to, because I know this is something Nathan's talked about, like build that relevance within like an actual video script, since NLP doesn't just apply to like websites. But yeah, I feel like that definitely could be a strong way to go.
Yeah, thank you. And just one more question for you. Like, so I have a bunch of friends who are basically like trying to start up like lifestyle influencer type of channels. Uh, and one of the things I was just thinking about is what are some ways that you found that can influence like that kind of market?
Like, how do you mean that?
Like, I've been getting questions of like, oh, can I use SEO for my review channel, or I just wanted to like basically like their niche would be something like heavily related to like reviews, like or you know kitchen stuff, or cooking or something like that, which are basically
Yeah.
like lifestyle videos. And I know that there's a market for that for them, but if they hired me to like help them even do a little part of that research, like it just feels like we're just guessing here. It's all about your personality and your branding, but is there also like a technique to optimize for like those types of videos as well, or is it just like hey, just get your audience by your personality and stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't know a ton about like kind of that like lifestyle and influencer side of content. I've personally always just tried really hard to make videos searchable. So I feel like if you're talking about like reviews for specific products or specific brands, I feel like that could be easy because I'm guessing the name of the product or the brand or whatever like type of thing it is going to be that like keyword, like whatever that is plus review. But I feel like
Yeah.
if it's something more like vlog or like I guess almost interest based where you're relying on, I'm guessing, like browse traffic to be watching your videos, where if there's not a ton of like if there's not a searchable element to it, that could be difficult to kind of plan around, because I feel like that's the thing with YouTube, it's not always search based traffic. Because I feel like the whole SEO side of YouTube only applies to getting traffic from search. But if it's like a browse, like if your video gets all of its views from browse features or from suggested, those don't really apply as far as like search goes. I mean, I know that like it probably has an influence, but if your client or whoever it is has videos that already exist, I feel like you could definitely go in and look at the analytics to see if their videos are already getting a lot of search traffic. Because if so, you should see those keywords in there, like what people are searching for that brings them to your channel. But if it's all browse, I feel like that's difficult to plan around because you can't really figure
Yeah, that's
out,
what I imagine. Yeah.
because that's when like YouTube just shows you what's on the homepage, or it shows you like suggested in the right hand column. Like those, I feel like unless the topic or the title is related to the video, that like you can use SEO there if it's something similar. But I feel like that's definitely tough to plan around to intentionally get views from browse. Um, you know what I mean? Where if it's like just based on someone's personality, because I feel like with influencers, that's the thing you'll see. Like they don't have any SEO in their title or their thumbnail, whatever. Like
Yeah.
there's no keywords. It's just they have millions of followers who know who they are, so they'll watch videos when they come out. But like the SEO side of that doesn't really exist.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's not something I know a ton about. I mean, it's definitely very interesting. But I have no idea how, like, how those influencers get started. Like if they're just making content about like the reviews and stuff and it just grows over time. I feel like the review kind of stuff is where you'll have like searchable keywords, but anything that's more like influencer based stuff or like lifestyle that's all like personality driven, I feel like that could definitely be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can understand that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
But as far as your stuff goes with local level, I feel like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great to use the keywords there and like start like, you know, use the business audits to kind of like do a case study of people you want to work with, and maybe try using videos too that are like local based, like SEO in your market or something along those lines, where you're targeting like the city level.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna try that out. And I'm like a beginner at everything here. So my first
Yeah,
one
no worries.
will
Yeah,
be
that's what
bad
we're
for
here for.
sure. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. If you, I don't know if you're new on the email list. I just keep sending out emails whenever I just pull from the spreadsheet list, but I can send out the other sessions if you're interested, because we did one that was like about the setup, and then one that was more like coming up with ideas that I had some slides for, so I can send those to you if you want. Or here, let me just put the previous sessions on a YouTube channel, so that way everyone can just watch them all. Because the topic of getting started was definitely a big thing people had questions about. Let me see it right here. I'll just send it in the chat. I tried to post it in the GSA group also for anyone. Also, yeah, Brian, to your points about the video production, I feel like if those are the keywords you're making videos for, that sounds like a strong start. Like everything's Miami and then industry specific. And I feel like we had it down the line. If you want to get more specific, like, I don't know Miami. I know Brickell is a neighborhood. So if you want to go like do all that and then go like Brickell video production or like Brickell corporate production.
Yeah. No, I think if
But
we get
definitely like
too
start with
granular,
like Miami and
yeah.
then get granular if you want.
Yeah, I honestly think the major city metros is the way to go, because that's where businesses are. And then like maybe do Brickell, but in reality, it's not like a real estate video where like you're talking about a specific neighborhood. And
Yeah.
I don't want like somebody doing a photo shoot for their quinceanera. I want a I want a
you
I want
you
a
want the big
corporate
ticket
video.
ones.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you want the big projects. You don't want like the little contracts.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
this
think that's
one,
totally
and then
reasonable.
like Miami dentist video marketing tips. Like I'm gonna get really granular by location,
Yeah.
by right, by industry.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Um, so is this something you're starting in the future, or do you have any channels where you've done this on already before?
This
Because I
keyword,
know you mentioned like having like, well, just because I know last time you mentioned having like 30 something brands that you're working on. So I was just curious, like, do you have these kinds of channels like that you've already rolled out, or is this all you're still in like the planning and shooting phase?
we've identified the keywords. We're
Okay.
ranking the site, and now we're going after each use case. And the idea behind the use case, since we can duplicate the use case by city, right? We're going to make a use case for that city with a idea of cost structure for the basic, mid, and in big production, and then give them 5 different examples, and then I'm going to send them that that Airtable example of what their project looks like in
Yeah.
action, right? How cool would that be? So
I think that's a great idea.
now they see, oh man, this guy makes cool videos. Plus he has like some sort of reasonable cost and he has a system that tracks it. No brainer.
Yeah, perfect.
Can't make
Got
it
him.
any easier, people. Just
Yeah,
give me your money.
exactly.
Give me your money.
Right. No, I think that's an awesome approach, and especially like now that like once you start crushing it on YouTube with that, I feel like that's like you're just trying to dominate the SERPs, and I fully respect that between the websites and then now adding YouTube to that. I feel like that'll be a very powerful strategy.
Exactly. And then this is like the Airtable view of the customer, and I'll have it like based on the keyword. And then I'll put in all the example videos. And like that way
Yeah,
they'll have like a clear view of like, hey, you have your YouTube channel. We have vertical videos that we create. We'll make your brand kit first. That has all the dimensions first. You
yeah,
could either provide us the footage or we film it.
yeah. And I feel like a cool thing that you can do too, because you're in video production, is like
Yeah.
if you just basically take the process of planning out your channel and like filming the content for that, just like show how you built that channel on the channel. You know what I mean? To show like the
That's
systems and
literally
everything,
what
like
I'm
your
doing.
Airtable, like yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that, like for you specifically, like that's a really cool thing. I feel like you can do because like you're building out a YouTube channel, and I feel like if you just show how you're doing that to everyone else that wants to hire you for their channels or just for videos in general, I feel like that's genius.
It's genius, right? I can't
Yeah,
lose.
literally.
I mean, would you buy this? Probably,
Right.
if
That's
you didn't
perfect.
know me, But
Yeah, I respect that.
yeah, right? Wouldn't that be cool? I might throw
Yeah,
you a
that's
couple
that.
video
Definitely let me
ideas.
know how that goes because that's exciting.
Yeah, and then now I'm just changing this based on city, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
100%. That's smart. All right. Anything else, guys? Any questions or anything? If not, we can wrap it here for the week.
Would you do long videos or short playlists?
Like actual like longs versus like a short under 60 seconds.
Yeah, like a 1 hour video or cut them off into like playlists. Short 10-minute
I
playlists.
feel like it might not hurt to like maybe cut that video into like smaller videos that are like around the same topic. I don't think I have any videos that are longer than like maybe 30 minutes. Granted, I know there's people that have 1 and 2 hour long videos. I feel like it's also just a matter of like, would you rather put all of your time and effort into one video that's an hour long, whereas maybe you could split that up into 6 videos that are 10 minutes long, but it's around a specific topic. Like if you just make each video more targeted, more niche, then that broader video that might help. Especially that way, like if you think about it as getting more videos out of your time invested, sometimes I would rather sit down, and if I'm going to film for an hour either way, I'd rather be set for 6 weeks of content, 6 videos, 10 minutes long, as opposed to putting all that into one video that's an hour long. That being said, if there's nothing wrong with doing an hour long video, I think if you want to, do that and then try that one way 1 week, and then maybe the next week, if you want to split it up into 6 videos, couldn't hurt. My goal is usually keep my videos between like 8 and 12 minutes. I feel like that's enough time to explain a topic and make it informative and thorough without getting super repetitive. But I also have videos that are sometimes like maybe 5 minutes and a couple that are maybe more like 15 to 20 minutes. Then that goes for both my SEO channel and the real estate ones. I feel like between 8 and 12 though is where most of them end up. But if you want to make an hour long video, definitely experiment with that. I feel like if you can get that average view duration like way up there with that, that certainly won't hurt you at all. Especially if it's like if there's a call to action in there and you get people watching, 10 minutes plus average view duration, like that's a great metric to hit if you can do that with an hour long video.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, I was thinking for next week, or the next one, talking about maybe putting in some sort of lead magnet based around businesses, or at least have that discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I don't have a lot of personal experience to share with lead magnets, but I feel like that could definitely be a good like brainstorm session to talk about different ways we could do this. do you have like a specific type of lead magnet you're thinking? Like for
Well,
you, what would that be for video production?
that's a
Like a
good
checklist
question.
of some sort? Okay.
You know, I was thinking either a checklist or even like I wanted to figure out something maybe they could use um that once they download. So either
Yeah.
a checklist or a voiceover generator, like
Oh, that'd
using,
be cool. Yeah.
you know, AI or something, you know,
Hmm.
because obviously, you know, we'd tell them we'd get it back to them the next day because like we couldn't let them say like F you and I hate you and something's terrorist.
Yeah.
You know, there'd have to be a human component, but do you think that would
Yeah.
be useful? Maybe, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that could definitely be a good like ideas session. Because yeah, for me, that's one thing I will say like I've never really capitalized on, you know, lead magnets or like trying to collect email address and stuff because I've always gone with just a straight like reach out, like email and phone number that's on there. Um, but yeah, I feel like I could definitely try to come up with some ideas and at least see what other people are doing in the agency space because I know Nathan does that and he's way better than I am at it. Like the funnels and stuff. Like every time he brings it up, I'm like, whoa, like there's levels to this that I didn't even realize existed with, you know, having the funnels and videos at different stages to collect, you know, email address versus, you know, Calendly sign up. Like there's a lot to that that I'm still trying to learn from.
Yeah, because he's got the book, like that's his lead
Yeah.
in. We also have like
Right.
one little component of the SEO guides that he could just hand
Yeah.
out, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so there's a lot of little ones. And I think, you know, I wanted to get something that was somewhat concrete where it has like 3 voiceovers. You get to just pick which one, and then we have a text block
Yeah.
of like, I don't know, 500 characters, which is probably 30 seconds, and then it sends it out to
Yeah.
the API, you know.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I think yeah, that could be a good idea section for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can plan on that next week. All right. If no one has anything else, I guess we'll wrap that today, and I'll send out this recording and the slides for this later on today.
Thank
All right,
you.
All right,
thanks,
I will
Jacob.
see you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jacob.
thanks for coming, guys. I'll see you on the call later on today if you're there.
Bye.
Yep. Bye, guys.